Everyone, and welcome back to a football forecast. And Liverpool have been hit with breaking news, the sort of news that they really didn't need. Mo Salah has done an interview basically stating that he is not happy at the club, he is not happy with the manager, and he would be willing to leave, is basically what he is prefacing. What I'm going to do in this video is go through all the quotes and then to give my overall thoughts on the situation and where do Liverpool go from here. So starting with the first quote, which basically says after AFCON and after the next couple of games at Liverpool, he doesn't know if he'll be returning back. Basically saying he is interested in moving on in January, and this is really concerning if you are a Liverpool fan or a Liverpool player, because it shows that Mo Salah doesn't have trust in the management, doesn't have trust in the club anymore. He also goes on to say that a lot of promises have been broken. A lot of things that he thought were going to happen haven't happened at Liverpool. And look, in fairness to Mo Salah, I wouldn't be surprised if promises have been broken. He was clearly promised stuff which hasn't come through, and that's been sort of reflected, I think, in some of the performances from the team, and that's how he justify this. And he's been on the bench for 3 games in a row and only come on at halftime in 1 game. That's the only minutes he has had in the last 3 games. So I can understand why he's annoyed, but I'm still frustrated with Salah for doing this because the timing is absolutely terrible. It's just exactly what Liverpool didn't need right now. We've got enough issues right now than having Mo Salah basically turning on the manager completely, turning on the team, and now we're left with another decision to make around the future of Salah, because you just had to keep this behind closed doors. You can remain frustrated, but at least make this behind closed doors until January, where you may get that move either way. What you've done now is sort of made this such a bigger thing, in my opinion, than it needed to be. Then we're on to the next quote, which is once again from Mo Salah, of course, which says that clearly someone at the club wants me to get all the blame and Liverpool are throwing me under the bus. I mean, this is so concerning, this one. It's basically saying he doesn't trust the club anymore, and it's back to that sort of breaking of promises. And I don't know what you do when a player says this, apart from basically let them leave the club, or you can't definitely include them in the next couple of squads, that's for sure, for Arne Slot. I assume that's who he's referencing with this quote. He may be referencing higher ups in the club as well, but I assume the manager is definitely part of this, because then he goes on to say that my relationship with the manager has broken down. And I think that quote was the final dagger to the heart. I just can't see how he can remain at the club, especially not if Slot remains as the manager for the foreseeable future, which is looking unlikely right now. So maybe there's a chance that he remains because Slot is not the manager in the coming days or the coming weeks. But I just can't see how you can keep a player like that at the club in general, because this isn't actually the first time that Mo Salah has done this. I didn't think he was a sort of character, and look, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just made mistakes at his time. But for example, right at the end of the Klopp, he was benched by Jurgen Klopp in like the final couple of games away at West Ham, and there was a sort of an argument between the two of them on the sidelines. Now it seems like that all got cleared up because he was brilliant the following season, but that's now looking more like a bigger problem, considering he's now done this twice in sort of 3 years with 2 different managers. Maybe Mo Salah is actually more of a sort of an ego problem that we've ever sort of thought he had. So then the final quote from Mo Salah is saying that Liverpool will always be my club and it will always be my kids' club. I believe this quote. I don't think he's just made this up or just sort of said it to make himself look better. I think this is completely true, and I do think he has sort of said it to make sure that the fans stay on side, but I don't think he's lying by saying this. And look, as a Liverpool fan, this will always remain my reflection of Mo Salah. It doesn't matter sort of what happens in the next couple of months. I just want this to sort of conclude in a good way, and I don't want his sort of reputation to be ruined, because he will always go down as a club legend. Whatever happens won't really change my mind on Mo Salah. He's been a huge reason why we've had so much success in the last sort of 10 years. So first of all, how do you deal with the situation? What would I do? Well, Mo Salah will go on AFCON in the next week. I think this is really good timing for us, the fact that he's going away soon, so we don't have to deal with this problem for too long. If Slot is still the manager for the next couple of games, then I think Slot should leave him out completely, because I think you can't have him in the squad realistically now. I think that sort of ship has sailed to sort of even try play him now because of what he has said. You can't be doing this. If the manager and you have zero connection, as he says, then you can't be, I don't think, playing him. I just think it worsens the situation between the two of them, and I think it's just easier to just not pick him at all. Slot isn't the manager and we get someone else, and then it's the manager's job to work out, was Mo Salah first of all in the right? Can he still play play for Liverpool, or will this be a problem that I will have coming down the line? Because that's what's happened to Slot now. Whereas I said that happened to Klopp just before the end of the season. It looked like it was fine, and then Slot came in. It looked like he was really happy again, and now we've got back to the situation again where Mo Salah is annoyed with the manager. More into the future of the club, into sort of January and beyond. Can you keep Mo Salah at the club? For me, if Slot is the manager, then there's absolutely no way to keep him at the club. If you're going to keep Slot, there's no way you can keep Mo Salah. I think that quote has destroyed any chance, that interview has destroyed any chance of sort of Mo Salah remaining at the club towards the end of the season. I guess the big thing now is trying to find someone that's willing to buy him. I definitely think there'll be a lot of interest from Saudi Arabia. Will he want to go to Saudi Arabia? I don't think so. I think Mo Salah's still got a bit more ambition than that. So then we'll be trying to find a club that's still willing to pay a good fee for him, because I think we'll still want sort of 30 million at least for Mo Salah, and we would probably get 40-50 million if Saudi Arabia were interested. If Slot doesn't remain at the club, is it possible to keep him? I would still say no. I still think that it's probably time to let go of him. Maybe you can keep him for another 5 months until the end of the season if a manager can build a relationship with him again, and maybe you start to get him firing again. But I do think it's still probably better to let him go at the end of the season no matter what, and I would probably still do it in January. Now, if the manager is Jurgen Klopp, which is a strong rumour, does that change anything? Well, I think Klopp would have very good judgment if he thinks he can keep Salah at the club. They obviously had that bust up during the West Ham game, but after that it seemed to be sort of fine. It seemed to go sort of, maybe it just sort of went under the carpet because so Salah didn't really want to ruin Klopp's legacy right at the end. So I think if in that situation, then you definitely leave it down to Jurgen Klopp and let him decide, does he think he can get Mo Salah back on side, because he would have very good judgment considering he worked with him for so long at Liverpool. So what does that mean for January plans for Liverpool? Well, we may now have to look at a right winger, and maybe that's what they mean by he feels like the club is throwing them under the bus. Maybe they've already been looking at right wingers, sort of discounting the fact that Salah could be the future right winger. And the one I'm looking at is an Antoine Semenyo, the one that's been linked. I think that's a sort of winger Slot might want, sort of a bit more industrial, someone who can help with the defensive side of the game, which I think we have lacked down that right hand side this season. He's used Szoboszlai there today away at Leeds, and Szoboszlai was brilliant. He was given man of the match. He had a very good performance away at Leeds, and he's also used a player like a Wirtz there, who's got a bit more of an engine on but can work a bit harder. So I think that's sort of going to be the solution if Mo Salah leaves in January. If it's a different manager, maybe they look at a slightly different target, but if Slot is still the manager by January, I think that's who we want to replace Salah with, sort of an industrial right winger that can help out more defensively and give us more balance to the side. But with that Mo Salah interview, what does that mean for Slot's future at Liverpool? Well, I think for sure it puts more pressure on him to perform, but also more pressure on the club to make a decision about, is it Slot or Salah? Is Slot the main problem at Liverpool? Because that's been my whole thing about sacking him. If we're going to sack him, I want to make sure that Slot is the overall problem at Liverpool. I definitely think he's definitely a factor in why we're struggling, but I want to make sure that Slot is also a bigger problem than just a factor, because I don't want the other sort of factors to get away with it. For example, the players not performing. So this is now the club's, I guess, time to decide where to go. I think if the Salah quote represents more than just him, what the whole squad is thinking, the fact that they have no trust and they have no connection with him, they feel like he's not doing a good enough job, whatever else Salah has a problem with Slot. If that's what the squad also think, then he should go. It's that simple, because you can't have players and the management that separate from each other. They've got to be on the same page and they've got to be connected, and that's clearly where Salah is struggling right now with Slot. So if that is a problem throughout the squad, then you've got to get rid of him. It is that simple. If that's only real problem that Salah feels or only a couple feel, then maybe you can keep him. Maybe you can justify keeping Arne Slot. But I think right now, I would say Salah is going to go in January, will be my prediction, and Slot will go before that, or he'll go after that, or he'll go during the same time. They will probably go together. I can't see one going, one staying right now. If Slot was to be sacked, who would I go get? I would go get Jurgen Klopp, at least as an interim manager. I've never been a huge fan of the interim manager, but I think in this situation it would work, because I think it would sort of bring the players together, bring the fans together, and I think it'd get everyone right on the same page. I think it would bring back high intensity pressing football, something that the crowd can get behind. I definitely consider giving him more than 6 months if he wants to do that, as I do think he could be what we need right now. In terms of other candidates, there's been a lot of people saying Oliver Glasner. I think people are going to be really disappointed if Glasner comes in. Glasner's football was very much about playing on the break, playing on the counter, playing with pace. I'm not really sure if that's sort of what Liverpool was about. I don't think that would go down actually very well with the fans. For everyone that's saying Glasner, I don't know if they're quite considering that it's not actually the sort of football that actually really works with Liverpool in the last 10 years. For me, it's a Klopp-type manager, maybe a Julian Nagelsmann, something like that. You maybe get Nagelsmann at the end of the season. For me, it's that sort of profile manager. Maybe you can convince a Luis Enrique. Maybe he gets bored of being at PSG because of sort of it's being uncompetitive. And maybe he thinks the next step in his career is to go to the Premier League where he hasn't managed before and goes to somewhere like Liverpool. That's the sort of profile of manager I am looking at. Let me know your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts? What would you do with Mo Salah? How does this affect